Did Trump election play a role in you looking for a house in the south of Europe? And 60% of people answered yes. Okay. So that's huge.
Hey, Benoît, thank you so much for coming on the podcast today. And thank you for actually hosting us in the head office of Green Acres.
Hi, Richard. I'm really pleased to welcome you and the French Connection HBC team here today in our office in Paris.
Awesome. Yeah, it's such a great location. Hopefully people can enjoy the views today as well. I want to start this section, really, and we'll go into more details about several things, but I'm really keen to understand from you the overview of the market trends. I think a lot of our viewers watching will wanting to understand what Green Acres offers as a platform, and I guess how it caters for international buyers, especially American buyers, because we know most of our viewers from the US and they're used to a MLS system. So what does Green Acres offer?
Yeah. First, Green Acres is a company I created 20 years ago. And from start, the focus was on helping foreign buyers buying in France. And now we are operating in France, Spain, Portugal, Italy, and Greece for our main market and launching in new countries. And specifically, we started with the English custom. So we took all the Ryanair destination and called the real estate agent. At that time, it was 20 years ago, and tell them, we are building a website for English buyer at that time. And with the English buyers came also the American buyers, and then we translated the site in 21 languages. And so now we are the leading portal for foreign buyers in the south of Europe, whether you want to buy in France, Italy, Greece. And of course, two main markets are France and Spain, which are big markets for foreign buyers, and also specifically for American buyers. So we are a real estate website. We are a portal like in the States, Zillow. I mean, if we were in the States, we would be competing with Zillow. And the specificity of the French market is that you don't have an aggregator or an MLS like in the United States. But that's where we come into play to propose a selection of property from 2,000 distinct real estate agent or real estate networks, agent networks in Europe, so as that are focused on what we call secondary houses, even if it's for a primary house, because we have a lot of retirees that want to buy a house in France, even some French buyers that wants to buy a house in France, but not in Paris, in the countryside. And so that's what we are doing at Green Acres. We are putting you in contact with local experts who are real estate agents who have selected our platform because they want to attract the foreign custom. So the agent is the people that are paying us for putting their listing online, and we provide our service for free to our visitors that are coming at greenacres.com, and we try to provide the best or one of the best service to search for a house in France when we are a foreign buyer. So everything is done in English. And when you contact a real estate agent, you know that you will be in touch with someone who is used to work with the English custom.
So it's really from the very beginning focused on the English-speaking user. To be precisely exact, from day two. First day, I tried if there was still room for a general website in France, and we have many competitors that had raised a lot of money. I launched a company by myself with my engineer sparing. So I started small, and hopefully the company has been successful in 20 years. But yes, we are really the main website for foreign buyers in France. Most definitely. I've used you, as I mentioned myself, many times for selling properties that I had, or for even just browsing.
And were you happy with the service?
Yeah, I was. I think it was, for me, it's always I'm a marketing guy, so I like the aesthetics, I like the green, I like the colours, and the simplicity as well of the website was always something that I thought was great. And I guess because most of our viewers are used to being in the US with the option to basically see every single property in one space, this is as close as you're going to get to that in a way. One thing before we close on the kind of market overviews, and we can jump into other parts and the story of Brigade Acres, and I think where I'm really keen to hear from you is where it's going in the future as well. But have you noticed an increase in American buyers post-elections? What does that mean? What does that look like even for you? Because you're not selling the property, you're just listing it, right? So.
That's a very good question. We have seen on Green Acres an increase in the number of requests on our website from American buyers by 64%.
Wow.
So that's a lot. It stopped 2 months ago, but we have seen that increase during all the year 2004. And with the new, with the new tariff war, which is just coming to an end, so we expect that to come back. We see that the American buyers are paying attention to their national context.
Yep.
And we even did a survey, and we had 109 answers that told us at 60% that the fact that they were looking for a property in Europe was in part generated by the political context in the United States. So the exact question was did Trump election play a role in you looking for a house in the south of Europe? And 60% of people answered yes. Okay. So that's huge.
And today, I know you've got these stats, we don't need to go into them, but in 2024, you were saying that there's kind of this first time that Americans have, and there's certain areres as well that they're buying in.
So we have seen two things, but maybe we are in advance because the transaction, people are looking on that on our website, on Green Acres, and we are measuring the number of requests being done by American buyers. If you look at the number of transactions between 2023 and 2024, that's the same level of transaction from American buyers. There is, which is quite good because if you look at the French market, it went down by 10%. So in fact, the foreign market is still stable, and a slight increase in number of volume of transaction in euro. So that's a global trend, a market that has been quite good despite all those issues with the interest rates that have increased due to the inflation. They are going back now, so the market is going easier. And if we look at the projection for 2025. It seems to be really good because we have a good demand. In terms of location, we have what we see on our website, but we also took external data from the French notaries to have a complete study. And what we see is that the American buyers, they are buying in the Alpes-Maritimes. So American people listening to the podcast might more known cities like Cannes and all the Côte d'Azur and Nice and Paris. So that's Paris was the main city, and now it's Nice. So Nice
and the southwest, where we're both from.
Yeah, exactly. So I was glad to learn that you were also from the southwest, from the Lot-et-Garonne, and
just above the Gers.
Yes, exactly, below the Dordogne, and the Périgord. And yes, there are more choice. So if you look at one specific department, it's not that much. But if you aggregate all the departments in the southwest of France,
it's quite
it's
because it's a big spread area.
Yes, exactly.
L'Occitanie is now, as it's newly called,
exactly.
It's such a big, and it's one of the leastly populated areas in the Gers, for instance. It's a big department.
So we have aggregated a lot of requests in those departments, and so typically the Périgord is the leading trend.
And you were saying, interestingly, not necessarily just ready to buy houses; these are renovations as well.
So on our website, we don't measure exactly what people are doing after because they're in touch with the agent. What we know from our experience is that you have a lot of buyers that comes to France to buy a property that they will transform in a JIT, or they will make this building live a second life.
Yeah.
So it depends. If you are buying in the Côte d'Azur, it's not brand new program. Yeah. It's never a brand new program on Green Acres, very rarely. But it's an apartment, and you just have to.
Yeah, you move in.
You move in with your suitcase, and that's good. And if you buy in the southwest of France, you have plenty of charming farms that you can rehabilitate, and people enjoy doing that, and this brings a lot of value to the southwest, because thanks to all the English and American buyers that have been there for now decades, you have a real cultural life in small towns that would be else
part of French Connection's responsibility in the Gers.
You can claim for that. Yes.
Probably brought quite a few. And so that's interesting in terms of destinations. You kind of think Paris, Nice is like the two things, but it is, we're seeing it as well. It's really wide in that spectrum. So thanks again for watching, and if you've enjoyed this short clip, you can find the full podcast episode on our channel.